Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome back to the realm of inspirations, inspired awakening. It is officially autumn. Happy autumn. It is the autumn equinox today, and we are celebrating the autumn season by recapping the energy from summer and seeing what's going to be following us moving forward as I tap into it clairaudiently and talk about energetically what I was feeling and experiencing through the summer season and what we can expect moving forward into autumn, and also a autumn equinox channeling, as well as concluding with an intention setting for the autumn season. So, the autumn season coming forth is very much being influenced by a few themes I noticed in the summer season. So this is the summer season recap. The summer season was full of inspired action, energy cleansing, the fog being gently lifted that will be continuing into the autumn season. There was also a lot of redirection of energy. So uncovering where your energy is best spent. There was a thawing going on. This is very interesting because this is something that you think more is in the spring, after winter, there's a thawing, there is a defrosting, and things are blooming. That was coming forth more in the summer, more so in the Cancer season and around the Lion's Gate portal. There was a releasing of things that are preventing the heart from moving forward. This was a big pattern I noticed, was the gentle. It seems like, even though it feels dramatic in the moment, what's occurring is a very gentle guiding down the path, a very gentle cleansing, almost like a snake clearing, since we are in the year of the snake. It is taking its time. There's a shedding of old things that are taking their time. Although in the moment it can feel like a lot, there was a need to recharge, a need to remember where we were 5 years ago and how we've grown, where we were 10 years ago and how we've grown, where we were 15 and 20 years ago, where we were in the past and where we've grown. A understanding of the magic of appreciation. So I actually did a little energetic experiment. I wanted to see what would happen in the energy of the summer season leading into autumn. What would happen if I am posting shorts focused on gratitude? If I am verbally saying things related to gratitude, sharing it, how many people will it reach versus just a general channeled message? So I did this test, and I saw that actually things with gratitude were reaching more people. That was my test for the frequency of appreciation and how it is reaping the abundance. And so in this case, it was the abundance of visibility and bringing forth more visibility to other messages coming through from the universe when gratitude opens the door. And that is carrying us into the autumn season. Absolutely. And that is always the case. But what was interesting and why I waited towards the end of summer, leading up to the beginning of autumn, to do this little test is because at the end of August, early September is when I felt this shift going on. That we were experiencing things that were teaching us what to be grateful for and what doesn't belong in our lives. So now that we actually understand the importance of gratitude, rather the importance of the things that we appreciate. So we learn what we appreciate and we learn what we don't appreciate. We learn what resonates with us and what doesn't. And when we appreciate what resonates with us, there is more magic there. Speaking of magic, very interesting. I looked up I saw a spider crawling, I looked down, and it disappeared. Weaving your web, building your network of connection with the universe. Symbolism. There's lots of symbolisms with the spiders, but I noticed that as I was kind of thinking that, like, when we uncover what truly resonates with us and we keep feeding that and we keep feeding appreciation for the good things, our connection to higher energy, our frequency of abundance, it grows and it grows and it grows. When we stop focusing on what doesn't resonate with us, when we stop focusing on the things that are draining us and the connections that are violating our boundaries, we free ourselves from another web that is building, a web of lies, deceit, jealousy, fear, anxiety, all of those things. When we shift our awareness over to the things that help empower us, then we are able to further empower our connection with the universe, and the universe can pay us in many different ways. Another energy theme I was seeing is payment in different ways, how the universe can pay us in friendships, in connections, in experiences, in opportunities, in invitations to social gatherings to meet new people, obviously in money as well, but in so many other ways, in, gifts or moments. And there were so many moments this summer where abundance was showing me how to appreciate those little moments. So there were a few little moments in the summer season where I was spending time with my younger cousins and seeing the innocence, how they perceive the world. And if I were to see things from their perspective, this was a really big thing I started noticing in summer. If I were to see things from their perspective of the world, how excited they are in their current experience, and try to feel the joy with them. One, they're going to have more fun when you as an adult are trying to enjoy things with them. But also, you're able to remember what it was like being in that childlike state. And actually, a lot of inner child healing that I experienced in the summer season was being put in situations where I was remembering the good things from my upbringing, because I could focus on the not so good things, that healing from them was a good thing and how I became who I was, but the good things. And I was able to forgive in a different way. I was able to forgive those who hurt me from my estranged father's family, of course, but there was a different level of forgiveness that I reached when I was putting myself in a situation where I was having to see things from a kid's perspective. And realize, now and as an adult, there was a lot of damage caused. But when I was in that state, I wouldn't have seen the damage that was going to happen. So I don't need to look at those memories and experiences from a lens of being bitter or upset, because in that moment, I couldn't have known what would have happened. In that moment, our intentions were not to hurt each other. In those moments, I'm getting so much deja vu. Summer has been full of deja vu. But in those moments that brought joy to my life from the inner child's perspective, I wouldn't have known what would happen. And here's the thing. There's if I knew what would have happened, would I have handled things differently? No, because then you don't get to experience the joy in the moment and get to carry that joy with you. And I realized there's so many moments that my younger cousins experienced in the summer that maybe weren't great for them. Kids fall and they scrape their knees. Maybe if they knew that would have happened, they wouldn't have jumped on the bed. Those situations, but also they wouldn't, because what is the experience that you're feeling before that point? The happiness you're feeling before that point. And there was a lot of this lesson of, if I knew, would I have done something differently? And I've been faced with this before, and every time I say no, but I think that I say it out of thinking that that's what I'm supposed to say. But for the first time this summer season, there was an energy of me saying that in a way that I meant it. I'll be humanly honest enough to admit and talk about that for a while for the last 5 years, I held a lot of bitterness and resentment over my estranged paternal father's family's cousins. And through stepping into the role of being more of a role model for those younger than me and thinking, what's something that I can do that can help their day be more exciting? What's something that I can do to help them have more fun? And then I think of all the things that I did with my now estranged cousins, and I felt this, for a little bit it was bitterness, then it was bittersweetness, and then it was just a constructive nostalgia, I would say. Not nostalgia in the way that I would ever want to reestablish those connections, because as adults, it would not be a good situation. But as kids, we were different. And so I can feel happy to recall those memories without feeling a bad taste in my mouth, because we were different then. We were kids. And this understanding that also there had always been this pressure, especially where I grew up in the Midwestern United States, that you have to always be preparing for what's coming next. That when I went about my healing, because of the conditioning from the school system, to never allow us to be in the moment, to always feel like there is pressure to be better, because the next year you're going to have it together in this way. Which is kind of a lot for a child's psyche to process. Because of that, in healing, it's like, well, if I would have known, I wouldn't have done this. This mentality that comes from the fact that, like, I was told in school that if I don't fix this behavior now, that later this is going to happen. So if somebody told me that, I would have done something different so that this doesn't happen, because this is how I was conditioned in school, that this is how my life is supposed to work, and that's not the case. So there was a lot of undoing the conditioning that was done to the childhood psyche that was coming through in September, in the summer, and in September, as it is September now, and moving forward into autumn. This is coming through, and I noticed this because even with some of my younger cousins, sitting with them, my younger cousins now, and asking, like, how are you feeling in this moment? Why do you feel this way? And I realized that now how I talk to kids is actually the way that I talk to my inner child. It's unconditioning fear. It's removing fear, removing anxiety, removing stress and pressure. How can we relieve the tension? Because a stressed child is never going to be productive and will grow up to be a very anxious and overwhelmed adult. And I know because that was me. And so there is this shift where the inner child becomes a guardian of the innocence around them. Where I noticed this shift, and I noticed it also in people around me and with clients, where inner childs are healing to a point where they are becoming that older big kid, leader, guardian over the innocence of others. There was a bitterness for a while, I will say. I had this, and the inner child had this, the angry inner teen in the inner child body, where, well, my childhood wasn't protected, so why should I care about theirs? I had this as a teenager, this thought process. And now, understanding that it's not about what's fair and what's not fair. My experience actually makes me somebody who can lead and guide children in a different way so that they don't have to experience that pain, and that they can gain the lessons because I can teach it to them, and they don't have to experience the pain to learn it. And so what's interesting is that in my circumstance, there weren't people around me that could teach me what I needed to learn. I had to learn it from experience. But in some other cases, maybe I have something that I can teach someone younger than me that they don't have to go through the pain to learn it. So it has nothing to do with what's fair and what's not fair. And there was this big healing and breaking those chains within the Akashic body of, why is it fair that someone gets to experience this and I didn't? And I'm not gonna do this because it's not fair. And this whole it's not fair, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can complain and you can complain and you can complain all you want. You can come up with excuses and you can do everything possible to avoid facing the truth inside of you. But that's not going to change the fact that what you are here to learn, you are here to learn. And what you are here to teach, you are here to teach. And you're not going to be able to teach what you are meant to if you don't learn from your experiences. That was a big thing in summer, and that's a big thing moving forward in autumn. And that's kind of the last theme that I feel is coming forth to me. Also, the other thing of breaking the cycles, that was a really big thing. Breaking the chains, excuse me, not the cycles, the chains that bond us. And asserting healthy, assertive boundaries to prevent things from, like cycles from re-repeating, was another thing to also remember carrying forward. So one channeling I will recommend to watch to kind of understand a little bit more about the summer season and also what's carrying us forward into autumn is the channeling I did at the Sanctuary of Poseidon in the island of Poros. I will link that to the video here so you can go and check that out, because that also does that channeling does a really great job of capturing a lot of what I'm also trying to say now clairaudiently with my higher self and the higher beings. Speaking of channeling at ruins, yesterday I did the Autumn Equinox channeling when I had the opportunity to go to an old theater. It's one of the most ancient theaters, 2,500 years old, in Lavrio, here in Greece, in kind of in the Attica region a little bit. It's a port. It's known for being a port. So I went there, and there is the ruins of a theater and just the archaeological site of that ancient village near Lavrio. So I did the Autumn Equinox channeling there, and so I'm going to pass it to myself yesterday to talk about Autumn Equinox and do the channeling, because it was a very enlightening experience. It was a very grounding experience, and a lot of powerful messages for autumn is in that channeling. So I will pass it over to me then, and after that I'll come back and we can do some intention setting for autumn. Okay, beautiful beings, this is the Autumn Equinox channeling. I am in one of the oldest stadiums in the world in Lavrio in Greece to do the channeling for the Autumn Equinox. Even though it kind of looks summery and feels a little summery, we are bringing in the autumn season, because autumn is more than leaves falling and things changing. There's a shift in energy occurring, and I feel a sense of a shift in energy when it comes to creativity, creation, and in general moving forward with harmonious connections with others. So I'm feeling like I'm going to channel the guardians of the veil of this sacred space to do the channeling for the autumn equinox. So a divine feminine guardian of the veil to help guide us for the autumn season. I safely stepped back, you may step forth. We are safe and protected. Only messages for our highest good will come through today. Hello, beautiful beings. I am a Elfian Nomad, Joybringer, guardian of the veil, divine feminine energy from the Elfian Realm, and it is autumn season is coming upon you all. The shift of energy is occurring. Now, I am a guardian of the veil for this space, and the sacred space guardians who are not a part of the Elfian Realm do have a quick message for me to deliver on their behalf before I continue with the autumn season. So firstly, it is time to remember what it is like to look at things from different perspectives, to take some time to shift your perspective and see things from all angles, from all around. Every perspective tells a different story. Every place in the stadium, everyone is seeing something different occurring. Your perspective and your part of the story is equally as important as the story playing out before the collective all. Your perspective is important, especially coming forth in the autumn season. Now, back to the autumn season reading. That was the message from the guardians of sacred spaces of this sacred space. Now to the autumn equinox, what it is important for you to know as the seasons shift. The autumn season is associated with primary color energies like the root chakra color energy, so the reds, the sacral chakra, the oranges, and the yellows of the solar plexus. The
autumn season is the shift in energy that prepares you for the winter, where it's more the throat, the third eye, the crown, the spring, where it's more the heart chakra and the solar plexus, the summer, where it's more the solar plexus as well as the throat chakra. So now it is time for some root clearing, some cord cutting, and some revitalization of your energy. It is a shift from action. Now the actions that you were taking in the summer are leading to the harvest. Now it is time for the harvest. So in this year of 2025, the autumn season is an indication that your harvest comes when you balance your creative and your creation energy. What that means is expressing your creativity and your ability to create things separately and together. Your manifestation abilities are going through different upgrades. What it is important for you to know is anything that infringes on the free will of others is something that is for the negative polarity. So when you are manifesting, you should only be manifesting things that you have control over receiving. That you have control over receiving. It is important to know that there are some miscommunications going around right now in this space and time. The wind is coming. Wind is coming, clearing, clearing, clearing. The wind has a message firstly. Firstly, the wind is coming to clear the miscommunications around. There's quite a few things. So, very interesting, because the wind has a lot to say for the autumn season. Let's see. We'll put the pause in the wind and let them come through. We'll have an Earthian Elfian Elemental of the wind will come through in a second. Now, there's lots of miscommunications coming now that have to do with manifestation, law of attraction, creation, these things, where there is the ability to manifest things that might infringe on other people's free will. This is the negative polarity using spiritual buzzwords. So you have been misled to think that you can use law of attraction or manifestation to get people to do what you want. You can't do that. That's not how the world works. That is not how the world of the universe works. When it comes to manifestation, true manifestation is going to show its face this autumn season. It is important for you to know that when it comes to manifestation, it is in your individual reality that does not infringe on others' free will with harm to none. Harm to none. That is important for you to know at this time, that anything, any spiritual guru or teacher who is encouraging you to use manifestation, law of attraction, or the gifts of the universe that in a way might infringe on the will of others is working for the lower polarity. It's important to know that. It's important to know that moving forward, especially the autumn season is a season of clearing. Now I will come back, but this wind elemental is very adamant about coming through to communicate. So the wind elemental is a divine masculine Earthian elemental of the wind that has a lot to say in regards to the future. So we are going to have them come through, and we're going to have her come through, and then we will, there's so many. There's a wind elemental and an elemental of the trees that's divine feminine, a wind elemental that's divine masculine that have lots to say about the autumn. There is a lot. So we're going to focus it. Important for this autumn season to focus your energy. If you're too spiraled in a million different directions and a million different paths, pick a few, pick 3 or 4, but don't fragment your energy too much, because that's when it gets chaotic, and that's what this is symbolic of right now. So we'll have the divine masculine elemental of the wind come through to communicate that message for the autumn season, and the trees divine feminine come through, and then I will come back as the guardian of the veil. So first, the wind. Hello, I'm a divine masculine Earthian Elfian Elemental of the wind, and I have so much to say. So, but I'll make it more in divine timing. So, what is important for you to know as you move forward in autumn is that there were some themes, some things of summer coming forth where miscommunications were clearing. That's why I was trying to come through when the guardian of the veil was talking about miscommunications, because it is important to see things clearly now. So if there is Any crystal and archangel to work with in the autumn season, that's going to be Archangel Gabriel and clear quartz, and the light frequency of the diamond of clarity. The autumn season, while it is change and it's shedding the things, it's also bringing light to things that have been hidden behind the mystique of overaction of summer. See, in summer, when it comes to plant life, a lot of times they bloom, blossom. There's a lot of deep greens, a lot of vibrant plant life. We think of it like this, yes? And when the fall comes, the leaves shed. And as it's shedding, branches and things are being revealed. Things that have been covered, beautifully orchestratedly covered. And now it is opening. Now it is disintegrating the veil that has been blocking you from seeing the things that are important for you to see. So the wind can help with the clearing of energy. The wind can help with the clearing of energy. The wind is helping with the clearing of energy. Now, here's the thing, beautiful beings, beautiful children of life. There has been a breach of loyalty, a breach of trust, maybe in your life. So, it is important for you to be most loyal to yourself, most loyal to your soul, and those who breach your trust, stab you in the back, betray you, no matter who they are, no matter how you are connected to them. It is important that you do not allow people in your life in an intimate way that violate your boundaries. The change Autumn is bringing is related to harmonious connections. Anyone who violates your boundaries, disrespects you, and disrespects your loyalty to them and manipulates your love is a connection that is not harmonious. And no matter who they are, they do not have a right to influence your life. This is of the utmost importance to know. Now I'll switch it to my friend of the trees, the divine feminine, Earthian Elfian Elemental of the trees will come forth. Now it is important to note that creation is making a big change, and that creation is also related to your relationships with others, your ability to create friendship and family and love. That comes from your sacral chakra. So if you have negative cords of attachment, or you're draining yourself out to negative connections, then you will not be able to create the connections that are for your highest good. And that also blocks your ability to manifest if you are holding on to situations and places that violate your boundaries. Now for the divine feminine, Earthian Elfian Elemental of the trees. Hello, I'm a divine feminine, Earthian Elfian Elemental of the trees. And what the trees have to say in regards to the autumn season is a lot of things. But let's see if we can summarize it and simplify it down. Burn trees for your own self-interest. You are punishing yourself. What this means is when you violate nature for your own self-interest, that is when you are hurting yourself. So you are one with nature the same way you are one with source. So when you do things to hurt source and God, and you do things to hurt the earth and nature, you are hurting yourself. And then those things manifest in pain to you. So then you start manifesting physical ailments when you are causing harm to the sky above and the earth below. So, it's important, as always, to fix that relationship. But also, when it comes to connections with others, some people might burn you for their own self-interest. But have you burned anyone for yours? It's important to remember that just because you are seeking spiritual enlightenment does not mean that you are better than anybody else. Everyone's ego is still influencing them. So, what's important for you to remember is to take accountability for those that you've hurt in the process. and send the light of forgiveness all around. And also, for you, to notice if you're in an environment where you are constantly being burned for somebody else. And remove yourself. Grow where you are planted, you humans say sometimes. So, it is important to do so. It's also important for you to acknowledge that you are not in the same situations or circumstances as those before you. So you don't have to do things in any sort of way. There is no correct formula. There's the formula that resonates with your soul. And as long as it aligns with Source, Creator, God, aligns with you, your highest self, your spirit team, your guardian angels, with the earth and what you're meant to do in the physical incarnation, that is the path. Because it's important to remember that even a century ago, the resources that was had by your ancestors are completely different than the resources that you currently possess. Meaning that the life that you are living will be nothing like the life of those before you. And for the elder generations, do not infringe your path on others. In general, do not infringe your path on others, because the resources are different now, and it is time for change. So back to the Guardian of the Veil to conclude the channeling for the Autumn Equinox. Hello, back I am to conclude the channeling for the Autumn Equinox. So here is what's important to remember. Do not make excuses for things. As you're moving forward, now is the time to change things. Everything is evolving in a different sense, and the frequency of abundance is experiencing its renew in autumn. The bulk of autumn is abundance experiencing its renewal of energy, a fresh start of abundance. Do not make excuses for things. That's the biggest thing. The ego makes excuses to promote spiritual sloth. And this autumn, and winter as well, and New Year of Abundance in general, is promoting you to move forward, not making excuses for spiritual sloth. And that is the final message. Okay, there's a lot going on, and lots of shifts of energy, and I'm still clairaudiently feeling a lot. The visuals are very interesting. The biggest visual is showing me like humanity, the collective humanity, moving from each row of the stadium, observing things. Also as if like the rocks here, because that's what I'm feeling the most, is that they have absorbed and observed over time the evolution of humanity. So we have evolved as souls, and the way that we go about connecting to our highest self has changed. The way we go about expressing ourselves has changed, but we've actually lost the creativity. And this keeps coming through, and it seems like a very prevalent theme in this year, 2025, specifically the year of the snake. Because I see it still influencing well into a little bit of the next solar year. Specifically the year of the snake. It's like the year of the snake is coming to clear the things that prevent us from being able to represent ourselves authentically. A lot of us it's better for us to express ourselves authentically through means of creativity, through speaking, through our speech, our throat chakras. But it's very interesting is that for the autumn season, it seems like there is a huge root detox, and for the rest of even the year with the snake, it is a root detox. So see how that is changing in your life, and remove yourself from situations where you walk on eggshells. There was a lot of that. And also the visuals of fire burning and cleansing, and fire burning and destroying, and the parallels of both, where it can be very confusing what's going on, where you can think that something's being destroyed but it's really being cleansed, or you think that you're cleansing something but you're really destroying it. So that shift in perspective is important. And that concludes the channeling for the autumn equinox.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that channeling. You can see what I mean. It was pretty intense. Lots of different Elfians came through, and that was a very interesting experience. One thing that I didn't mention in the moment, because I didn't realize it until I was walking around and going up and down the different levels of the kind of stadium area where the patrons would sit to watch the performances, and where I was doing the channeling, was a visual that I was shown. So I didn't understand it in the moment, because for me, it's a really big, confusing experience when, while I am channeling, I am shown the visual of a dog. Because if I'm channeling out in public or in ruins, I'm like, am I being shown this because there is a stray dog in front of me? Do I need to come back to my body? Obviously, if that was the case, I would come back to my body right away. They wouldn't, keep talking if I wasn't safe. But I kind of confused that as like, maybe this was an ego interference. And then as I closed my eyes again and I'm standing in the ruins, like, I re-got the visual again. And sometimes I try to do this when I am channeling in ruins, because visuals can get confused with me picking up the imprints that were left behind and the channeling coming through, and trying to balance everything going on, because they are full with lots of energy no matter what the ruins are. And in doing so, I realized that what I was being shown, why I was being shown a dog, is one, because they are the animal healers of the sacral chakra, which I will link a video here to check that out, because I did a video about that, so you can learn a little bit about that. I did it a few years ago. They are the animal healers that work with the sacral. So there is sacral clearing, but also a symbol of loyalty. And being shown that a violation of boundaries from someone who you think is on your side but isn't, and is just lurking from the shadows, pretending to be something that they are not, is something that was being shown. That there is a fake friendly face. That sometimes people who have the illusion that they are opening and welcoming and have that, fluffy, nice exterior, on the inside actually have ulterior motives. And I can say that I know this for a fact, that when I left my father when I was 11, and I'm trying to explain what happened to me, because through, the court mandated counseling session, so I was able to figure it out at a younger age. Also just because I didn't spend as much time there as I did in my actual home, I realized that everyone around me who only saw him from the outside saw that he was a very nice person. That he had this exterior of being a good person, but those who really knew him knew that he always had ulterior motives, that he was very Machiavellic in the way that he handled things, and the way that he even handled being a parent. And that visual I was also shown, and I was shown it in conjunction with the dogs, and being shown that there is a fake face. And the dogs come to show you who's not being loyal. In my life, whenever a dog, and the different colors also mean different things, but whenever a dog randomly appears, typically they'll sometimes come to me before someone who had an intention of not having follow through or commitment bails. I'm shown them, and I know, okay, and I like, who instantly comes to my mind? That person is not going to have follow through or commitment or be loyal in this situation. Or if I'm in a situation and a dog comes to separate, like to make me leave a space, to separate distance from someone, that person doesn't have my best interest at heart. So I know that visual, and it took me a second to recognize it. And so I know what that means for me personally, but on a collective level, that means there's something going on collectively. That those who are pretending to be all nice and all caring and pretending that they have the best interests at heart actually have an ulterior motive that is negatively impacting people. And maybe those who are showing their real face the entire time might be who we should be paying attention to a little bit more, who we shouldn't be dismissing. Because think about this, and this is very important, and I'm going to use my own life as an example, but if you want to see me use, because I have my Ancient Awakening channel that I just launched, where I also use metaphors in myths to explain the same thing. A lot of thoughts coming at once, a lot of thoughts. So I have on my Ancient Awakening channel, where I'm using myths, the metaphors in myths to explain this, to explain these things, to explain these concepts. Also in my own life, I want to use this example as well. Use my own personal examples. I don't want to always, what I'm trying to say is I don't want to always rely on my personal examples. That's why I created the channel of metaphors and myths, because I don't want to keep bringing life to old stories in my life. But one specific thing that I put into perspective is my mother, she never like attacked my father. She never said anything bad about him. She was always encouraging me to try and have a relationship. She wanted me to choose for myself. My father was constantly slandering and harassing and trying to convince me and condition me into thinking that she was the bad guy. Because she had my best interest at heart, but when someone doesn't have your best interest at heart, they want to disrupt your vision over who does. And sometimes it's messy to clean up a mess. When someone doesn't have your best interest at heart, they're going to disrupt your vision of those who do, or of those who might not side with them. That was also a big visual that I was being shown in the channeling, and I wanted to explain that, and everything came through at once. I'm feeling this way, and I've been feeling this way since yesterday, that there is a lot coming that's being cleared. It's like it's coming full force, and when I'm tapping in clairaudiently or when I'm channeling, I feel this, where like yesterday and today I'm feeling it, where it's like so much is coming at once, so much clarity is coming at once, and I'm feeling it like I'm receiving messages simultaneously that is making sense of what's going on in my personal life and also explaining what's going on collectively, and it's a whole, like you read it out, but it's actually clearing as it's coming through. And that's very interesting because I don't normally experience this. It's not common where it's like as it is starting to come through, it's kind of a little bit jumbled, but as the sound frequency moves through and as the energy is flowing, it's clearing and smoothing its way out, and it's making sense, and the energy is flowing peacefully. As we're moving through things, the chaos is clearing and it's bringing clarity. It's just kind of shaking its way through. That is the final message on that point. So that kind of includes this Autumn Equinox video. I want to do an intention setting with all of you. For autumn season. The intention setting that I'm feeling called to do is setting the intention for accepting things for our highest good. So this intention setting is a little bit of a protection, and it's just genuinely the protection that I use with clients a lot, but I'm gonna modify it to be more for a collective level, so anyone who tunes into this video, the frequency is aligned to receive. So close your eyes and visualize your guardian angels surrounding you in their wings. They are going to invite forward Archangel Michael's sword of truth to help you in setting the intention for the autumn season, that truth moves through you and truth finds you. Then they're going to invite in Archangel Uriel's light of strength to empower you and to set the intention for the autumn season that you will be reclaiming your missing fragments and soul pieces. All energy that has been drained from you and taken from you and living in other places and situations and with people will be brought back to you, cleared and cleansed and realigned with your original source excellence, and you will feel each day a part of you return until you are fully clarified in your truest authentic self and you can find the path that your highest self has set out for you. Amen, Ashe, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you, Source. Thank you, Source. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, Creator. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Father God. Thank you, Father God. Now bringing forth the light of Archangel Raphael will come forth to you to set the intention for true clarity-driven healing this autumn season, to invite change, to help you embrace the change that is coming. And Finally, the light of Archangel Gabriel to bring clarity and set the intention for clarity this autumn season. Now, what your guardian angels are going to do is they are surrounding you in an invincible tube of divine light and love. They're going to help you open your mind to the things coming through to you this autumn season will be for your highest good, for the betterment of your ascension, to inspire you on your journey for what you need, not what you want. For what is meant for you, not for what the ego desires alone. Opening your mind to what is coming forth, because clarity is coming. The truth is being revealed each and every day that a new fragment of your soul returns to you, you are more empowered in the divine frequency of truth. And they're going to invite in the violet flame and the flame of truth to surround you and help set the energetic intention for transmutation of old into new and purifying of negativity and bringing forth the highest divine truth of the universe. And when you feel ready, open your eyes and place your palms on the top of your knees and your feet on the ground if you can. Just take a few deep breaths. Change, good change, will come when you believe it. But also ensure that you are using your higher discernment. The discernment of the ego is not the true discernment. The ego can believe things that are not real. But if something doesn't truly feel real on a soul level, then it's the ego pretending it does so you don't uncover what really is real. Remember, you are your soul. The ego is just a little tool and little nuisance that's existing in your incarnation. That lower self is not you. You are authentically your highest self. You chose to have a lower self to experience growth as a soul, and your journey is remembering that that's not significant. The ego, the lower self, it's part of the experience, but is not who you really are. And with that, sending you love, light, and inspiration. Goodbye for now, and stay inspired.